Hello, I'm Dr. Thomas Maples, and welcome back to A Sacred Journey. I'm very glad that you decided to join me here today, and today we're going to go a little bit into the nature of statistics and some inspirational quotes I found from Mark Twain, especially as it relates to the reality we create these days. In my recent blog article entitled Philosophical Inspiration, Statistics, and a Necessity for Fact, I began to explore two wonderful citations from the witty humorist and author Mark Twain. One of the inspirational quotes reads, "There are lies, damned lies, in statistics." What does that mean? What's the author trying to tell us here? There are lies. Lies could be created, they could be spoken in verbal form, they could be written. And the fact is that they're untruths, and usually untruths are told either to avoid a consequence or to manipulate others into moving towards a direction that may be against their will. And so when Mark Twain talks about lies and damned lies, there are lies that are out there. Maybe it's a white lie to avoid punishment, but the damned lies are really the ones that are used in a more negative way, especially that of trying to manipulate others to move towards something that may be against their will. And Mark Twain saw that there's a specific form of mathematics that is used to try and manipulate people, and that's what we call statistics. Now, statistics has a long history within psychology, and they go hand in hand because psychology, as being the study of psyche or soul, when it began to move from the European continent into the American continent, it quickly became a study of behavior. And this is where things could get semi convoluted, especially as it relates to statistical analysis and the effects that numbers, especially numbers around, let's say, popularity or popular opinion, can help elicit differing responses from individuals regarding things that they may not necessarily agree with or value. Now, as the blog article goes into, a simple a simple example of a statistic that was actually used when I was studying in my doctoral program. At the time, the numbers may have been worse, but now they seem to be more stable, but worse. Worse as it relates to the statistic itself in comparison from a previous example. According to the IMD World Competitiveness Center, the United States ranked 10th in the world in 2020 after ranking first in 2018 in educational scoring. Now, when I was studying a very similar statistic to this back in the early 2000s, it was actually 17th, if I remember right. The example that I give here, though, is not one of have we become better versus worse, or are we shrinking as it relates from our numbers in 2018 to 2020, but it's actually the shadow of the statistic present in the way it's used to manipulate numbers. Now, I invite you to ask yourself, how did that idea of we've moved from 10th to, I'm sorry, we moved from first to 10th, make you feel? Did it touch a nerve? Well, it's supposed to touch a nerve because we're taught that 10th place is not good. And especially if there's an undercurrent that we need to be number one. It feels better to win, and being in 10th is well, in all reality, it sort of sucks. And so the tendency for a statistic like this to strike discord in the nervous system is exactly the way that numbers, especially when it's used as a popularity capacity, can help shape and manipulate public opinion. And that's why Mark Twain really draws inference here, because in a within itself, scoring at the 10th place is not that big of a difference. In fact, as the blog article shows, it's only a difference of about 9% percentage points between the top nation and the 10th nation, which was us in this study. That's pretty easily made. That's nine more questions out of 100. Or if there's a multivariate perspective that's present. It could be the difference of the top scoring nation missing a few and us getting a few more correct. And we may actually be stronger in certain areas than we are weaker in others, and vice versa. And so, part of this, when a statistic is used to manipulate behavior, it comes from a place of what is being asked for, because a statistic technically can be bought. You could say that we're 10th in the nation or 10th in the world as it relates to our education, but that also means that we're better than 150 plus other countries that the world's comprised of. Now, when we look at the difference between percentage points between the number one and ourselves, it may be minuscule to say the least. Now, 9 percentage points, is that a big thing to make up? Well, it may not be. It may be a fluke. It also may, if it's being asked in regards to securing funding for more education, how much is going to be spent for these 9 percentage points, and will it truly make a difference? So there can be lies, damn lies, in statistics, as Mark Twain says. It really all depends on what we're utilizing the numbers for. Now, in the example that I gave about education, this is a place that statistics are used quite frequently as a means to secure funding. Now, I'm not against funding for education, but I'm also for understanding how things are being spent and to what end that they come for, because one of my taglines within my website itself is advance confidently in the direction of your dreams. Well, that really pushes the idea of creating a dream that's in front of you, and then breaking it down step by step, what is needed to advance confidently in that direction. Now, we all know the saying of Lao Tzu: a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, a journey towards a dream, a journey towards a destination, whether it be first place or winning an Olympic gold or becoming a doctor or getting into grad school, it all starts with a specific destination that's put in front of you, and then that has to be systematically broken down into the steps that are needed one by one in order to get there. If there's 100 steps in the process, you can't skip to step 99 and think that it's going to work somehow. And so, with that being said, understanding that the way the numbers are being used to manipulate, that's really an aspect of questioning that we have to undertake. Are they asking us to move to step 99 without first taking a look at the first step of the ladder? That's an important facet to look at. Now we have a second quote from Mark Twain, which I wanted to throw in here just because I believe it really represents an aspect that we see happening far too often these days about the distortion of reality. He writes, "Get your facts first, then you could distort them as you please." I think this is important for all of us to take a look at, especially as it relates to the way that statistics are being used to distort reality as we see it. Now, statistics could be made to tell any story that you want. Is 10th place a bad or a good thing? Is first place a bad or a good thing? If we're at first, do we need to spend more, let's say, to keep at first, or is that a healthy means, a healthy use for our, let's say, time and money? Now, it's important for us to get facts first. We have to be objective about these things that we're pulling in and drawing inference from. Now, statistics, as we've explored, can be utilized to manipulate numbers. Now, if we go into depth and we look at the numbers that are present, we begin to sort them and filter them through, let's say, a value based system. How do these measure up to the costs versus the benefit of any action that we undertake? Now, this is the foundation that forms a informed population. We get bombarded with information, with statistics, with numbers, with popular opinion, with unpopular opinion, with shock opinion. You name it, we get these sources of information that come to us every day. What do we utilize them for to create a meaningful path towards our own sacred journey? Just look around. How much truth do you see being distorted in this very moment? That doesn't really have to be the case, especially if you hone your research skills to engage in a little behind the scenes understanding of the numbers and the storylines that you see coming to us, or as what Mark Twain would call the lies, the damn lies, and the statistics. Do we have to wander aimlessly towards the destination that's being put in front of us? Or can we actually dream our own destination forward that's full of a content life that we wish to create step by step as we engage that journey? The choice is ultimately ours. Now, I hope you enjoyed this brief exploration into a necessity for facts. And I want to wish you blessings, my friends. May your journey be rich and rewarding as you learn to not only plot the dream forward, but to learn to navigate those steps needed as you advance confidently in its direction. Goodbye for now, and I hope you enjoyed.